Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. My name's Teresa and I'm the card book crafter, and I'm coming on today with these fabulous wow cards. Aren't they brilliant? I think they're absolutely gorgeous. They're called a half star illusion card. The reason being is if I tip it that way, hopefully you can see it's sort of half a star. Now, it's an original idea by a crafter on, let me get this right, Ice Image website. So I'll leave a link in the description box below if you want to go and check out the original video. But I thought, I love them and they are so easy to make. I was blown away just how quick and easy these came together. So I thought I'd put the video on and record doing another one, because I am making a whole stack of these, because this year we've got lots of occasions and birthdays and things. So I'm trying to get ahead of myself, and I thought these are a fabulous idea. Now they do stand up, they're very sturdy when they stand up. The only problem is that she didn't say where to put your message or your greeting. So what I've done is I've done that on the back on both of the cards, so that I've got somewhere to write a greeting, but then it doesn't detract from how pretty these are. And I really like it, looks as if the ribbon's going through on there. So let me put these to one side and I'll show you how they're made. Okay, yeah, so the lady on Ice Image said it was okay to recreate them on your own channels as long as you credited her to the in your, whatever. So sorry, brain's gone to mush, of course, straight away. So I've done some prep already. So I've already put the place for the greetings on the back. So you'll need the base card, which is 5 by 7, and the back here. So this is the gold is 6 by 3, 6 3/4 by 4 3/4, and then the white is 6.5 by 4.5. And I've glued that on now because, as you can see, if you glued it on last, you're going to struggle. So let's pop that there. So I've put that on already, and I'm going to put something like this in the middle, closer to the day. So you've got that, and the first thing you're going to do with that is grab your ruler and a pencil and measure. So on the 7-inch side, so half of 7 inches is 3.5. So put a little mark there, move up and put another mark at 3.5 inches, and just draw a line. And you don't need to go all the way through, you just need a line somewhere in the middle. So that's the first thing you do, and I've glued that on so I can pop that to one side. Then I'm going to grab my scoreboard and get all the scoring done. So you'll need another piece, which is a 5 by 5 piece. Pop that in there and score at 2.5. You know me, I'm going to flip it over and score at 2.5 again, and just fold that over like that, and that's going to be the bit in the middle. Now for the bits where the ribbons go, you'll need 3 pieces. 2 of them measure 2 inches by 6.5. 1 of them measures 2 inches by 6 inches. Okay, so the 2 that are 6.5 inches long, you're going to score at 1.5, 3, 4.5 and 6. So 1.5, 3, 4.5 and 6, and do the same on the other piece. I'm not going to do it because I'm just going to run out of time. Once you've put all your score lines in, fold them over like that, and you'll make a little sort of box shape with it. Don't glue it just yet, we'll do that in a minute. So what it'll do, it'll come together in a little box shape like that. What I do at this stage is grab my scissors and just put a little notch. So at this end you've got a piece which is 1/2 inch in length. So this is going to be your tab to glue them together, to glue your box together. So I'm just putting a little notch in there. You don't have to do that if you prefer, but it's what I do. So that one's ready, so I'll pop that to one side. I would score the other one, but I haven't got time, so I've already prepped some. Bring in your 2x6. So you've done both of these. Bring in your 2x6, and now you're going to score at 1.5, 3, 4.5. Flip it over. 1.5, 3, 4.5. Okay, and again fold them over and reinforce those score lines like that. Make sure you're lining it all up, because this will be a box as well, but we fold and score this in a slightly different way. Okay, so I'll pop that to one side and I can pop the scoreboard away. So next thing you're going to do is bring in these pieces, and you'll also need some mat and layers. So these are so I've got some gold foil and I've layered on some patterned paper. It's still drying, so it's bending ever such a little bit. I did have it under a piece of card, but it's still bending. So these measure so the gold is 2 and no, sorry, forget the 2. It's 4 3/4 by 3 1/4, and you need 2 of them. And you'll need some pattern paper that's 4.5 by 3. And we've got that line that we put in. So I'm just going to grab some glue. I'm using this one because I'm rushing to try and make sure I don't run out of time putting this together. I would normally use my thinnest glue on this this mirror board, because it does bend quite a lot. So using that as a guide, pop one side and move that over ever so slightly. There we go. That's straight. There we go. And push that into the card. I'm going to turn this over so it dries flat, hopefully. Then grab your other one and again glue this down onto there, again using that middle line that we put, that pencil mark that we put in, using that as a guide. So let's flip that over, line it up. What I want to do is line up my bottoms, so my bottoms and my tops as well. Make sure they're straight. There we go, and push that in. Should have waited perhaps a little bit longer for these to dry before popping them down. I'm going to flip them over and do that, and hopefully they will dry a bit flatter. I'm going to put a weight on, I think that might help, mightn't it? So I've done that. So I'm bringing in my other piece, so that piece that we scored at 1.5, and I'm going to do the same on this side, this one. So I've got a score line in the middle, so I've got that visual aid to help me get this in. So let me push that down a little bit so I can get back into camera. There we go. Come on. I stood it up, didn't I? I should have laid it down. So I do always, not always, but sometimes do use my fingers just to spread it about a bit. I have got a spreader, don't know where I've put it, of course. So let's pop that one on that side. line it up so it's nice and central, and push that glue into the card. And then I'm going to do the same with this one. Look how much that bends if you don't leave it under something. Gosh, that was quite flat just as I was about to put the camera on. So again, I'm just going to spread into those corners because I don't want them lifting. Okay, and pop that down on this side. There we go. And again, I'm going to use my bone folder to do that. Now I'm going to move this over here and pop that on. Let's pop that on there, face down, and I'll pop that on top, and hopefully the weight of that will help. Right, so I'm going to start on these now. So you'll need some ribbon, and the best sort of ribbon to use is one that you're going to be able to hide your red liner tape on. So I'm going to put 2 pieces of red liner underneath this piece of ribbon here. What you're going to do, and you'll do it on both of them, is you want to run a piece of ribbon on your these struts from the middle of the first box. So you know we've got 4 boxes. You want to go from the middle of one box to the middle of the other, so that you're covering the whole of these 2, but not all of these end 2. So let me show you what I mean. Move that one out the way. So I'm going to lay it down. So there I am, about halfway in my first box, and then I'm going to cut it about halfway in my last box. You don't need to go end to end, so it'll save you a little bit on ribbon. The next thing I do, and I've lucky enough, I've got a white gel pen, but you can do this with pencil. I'm using a white gel pen so that you can see as well. So I'm just marking the ends where that thicker ribbony bit is, so that I know now if I lay my red liner tape from that dot to that dot, I'm going to be underneath where that ribbon bit is. So there, straight across all of that to there, and cut that piece off. And the same on this side, from there all the way across to there, and cut that. And that now should be exactly where the ribbons, the thicker part of the ribbon is on there. So if I lay that over, I can see, yeah, that's going to be right underneath the thicker part, so it won't be shown through my ribbon. So I'm going to take that red liner carrier tape off, and this is where it starts to stick to me because it's full of static. And then I'm going to bring my ribbon back in, and I'm just going to lay it down this end, stretch it over. Don't pull it too tight because you still want it to bend where those score lines are. So that's the one that's 6 inches, and you're going to do exactly the same to these ones, but tuck that in, because what you want to do is you want to cover it in the same way as you've covered that. Okay, let me bring in the ones I've already done so I can show you. So there you go. I've took that tab away, and then I've used this as the end to there. So I've not gone all the way into the ends of these 2 boxes. It doesn't matter if you do, but it's just a way of saving a bit more of your ribbon. and, you know, giving you a bit more on your crafting as well. So now you've got 2 of these that are 6.5 inches long. We'll put the 6-inch one to one side because we're not going to work on that just yet. So on both of the ones that are 6.5 inches, you're going to make sure that you can wrap it round, which I can. And then you're going to grab your glue, and on the same side as you've got your ribbon, put some glue on that tab. There we go. Put some glue on there like that. And you're going to turn it into a little open-ended box. Whoops. So flip it over, bring that first piece across, bring this end across. You know what you're doing. I don't want to be teaching grandma to suck eggs, but there you go. So you've now got yourself a little box like that, and you're going to do it on both of them. What I do like to do is fold it that way and peg it until my glue has grabbed. So do that on both of them and then pop them to one side. We'll be using those in a minute. So let me see how these are getting on. Are they glued down? Yes. There we go. And does this one glued down as well? Yeah, there we are. All glued down. Okay. So I'll just give that one a little bit longer to dry, because we're going to work on this one now. So once these are dry, you're going to bring in your red liner tape, and you're going to put tape. So these 2 where your ribbon hasn't gone all to the end, those 2 are not going to be seen in the finished project. So what we're going to do is on those ends, we're going to put some red liner tape. Now I'm going to put my red liner tape close to that crease there. So let me line that down and put it all the way across. So I'll put a piece there, and I'm going to put a piece in the middle of that box, and then on this one it manages to grab the ribbon as well. Flip it over and do the same on this side. So red liner tape on there, just to one side of that score mark, and one about halfway. Now if you like your glue like me, then that's enough to grab it and hold it until, because we're going to use glue on. If you prefer to use red liner tape for the whole of it, then put another piece or 2 at the end. So you might end up with 3 pieces, or 2 if you've got the thicker red liner tape. Use that. You might use 2 pieces on there. Right, I'm just reinforcing that on there. And then what you're going to do, remember that line we put in there? Well, now we're going to use that line as a guide again. So I'm going to grab my glue again, and I'm going to take off the carrier tape on one side of these. So this is my little box. Now if you've used all red liner tape on here, and some people prefer tape, then you don't need to do this next step, which is to add your glue. So I'm adding wet glue on this end bit, because I want the end bit to be, I want this card to last, because I have a feeling that this, because it's such a wow card, I think it might be one of those cards that people keep. So I want it to last, which is why I'm using wet glue. Okay, once you've got that done, you're going to flip it over so the glue's face down, and you're going to line it up with that line we put in earlier. So I'm just going to, so this edge here, this edge on our box, which is where the tab is, it's in there, we're going to line it up on that line, just this side of that line, and lay it down. Now, because I'm using wet glue, that's going to take a little while to grab, but because I've got the lining tape on there, the lining tape will hold it in place for me. So I've done that one, and then I'm going to do the same on this one. So let's take those pegs off and get some red liner tape on there, like that. So again, just this side of that score mark, one, and a second one, and what it does is it holds it in place for you, but it also encapsulated that ribbon, so it gives that ribbon a bit more stability, so it doesn't get pulled out on there if that red liner tape that's holding it in place gives way a little bit. So again, that's just that side of the crease, and then a piece that's somewhere in the middle, like that, and that one grabs my ribbon as well. So let's pop that there. I don't know what that is on me red liner. Let's just cut it out. There we go. So I've got the red liner tape on both sides. Let's push that on. Now I think I've gone over a little bit on my red liner there, so it's just sticking to the other side of that box. So there we go. Right, and again, you're going to take your red liner tape off one side, like that. Whoops. And you're going to get your wet glue, and I keep meaning to lie that down and then forget, and then put a bit of wet glue there. I probably completely overkill, put some down in the middle between the two pieces of liner tape, but that's just me. And what you're going to do is you're now going to line it up. So there's our first piece that's glued in nicely there, and I'm just going to put this side, so there's my glue, turn it over, pop it on there so that it almost butts up to it like that, and lay that down, making sure that all of your edges line up. So this lines up and this end lines up. Get your bone folder in there and reinforce the glue, push it into the papers. So now what you've got is that. Okay, so if you remember for the original, that's these two boxes here. Okay, so next piece we have to do is, I'm going back to the first one I put on because that should be nearly dry, hopefully. Take those off, put a little bit of glue on there, and I'm going to bring in this piece again, folding, making sure I've got it the right way, so this one's facing me, and I'm going to fold it in half like that, and I'm going to put this creased edge oh, excuse me, I'm going to put this creased edge right in there where those two join, but at the same time I'm making sure that this top edge lines up with this top edge here, and this bottom edge lines up with this bottom edge there. So making sure that's all nicely lined up like that, trying not to let it move, and I'm going to bring this piece up like that, and then again get my bone folder in there, and then while that's grabbing, I'm going to do the same on this side. So take those two pieces of carrier tape off and grab me glue, because we all know how much I like me glue. There we go. And all I need to do is bring that piece back up and then put your finger in the box, bring that up. The liner tape will grab, and then you're just going to push that in. You want it to lie flat so that you can lie it flat to put it in an envelope, which it does beautifully. Now, you can, if you want, you can stop at that point and decorate up this middle piece if you wanted to. Entirely up to you. Or you could do the next stage with me. So remember that 2x6 piece that we did? Fold it in half, and I'm going to use my trimmer because we're going to trim just a tiny little bit off. So you can use your scissors if you prefer. So this end, this open end, I'm going to trim off the tiniest little sliver. So I'll trim it off and then I'll show you how much I've trimmed off. So that is how much I've trimmed off. So don't go too much, just a little bit, because what we want to do is we're going to fix it into the middle there. And if you don't trim the tiniest bit off at this stage, it can sometimes buckle and have an effect on the way that your project lies. So we're going to do exactly the same. I'm going to grab my red liner tape and I'm going to put 2 pieces each end in exactly the same way as we did the others, but obviously this piece is not a box shape in the same way. So let's trim that off, put another piece on and trim that off. And you know I'm going to get my wet glues out again. So both ends, and do both ends at the same time, because it's just easier in the long run than trying to do it while it's stuck on your project. And your second piece, so there we go. Whoops, it's just ever so twisting. Hold on, keep still. There we go, all fingers and thumbs. Get your bone folder and push that into your card and your ribbon again. Okay, now then, what you're going to do is you're going to peel one end off. Yeah, that end, I think. It's useful to look at what you've already got laid down and try and work out what's going to look the best. So I think this at this end is going to look best. So again, a bit of wet glue all in there. And fold it over so that it's in half. Turn the glue round that end, that side. Okay. And what you want to do is you're going to lay it in here so that this open end is butted up to that crease mark, but at the same time you want to line this up with this end. So you're not butting them up so that they're the same. They're going to be similar but not quite as long as that one. So you're going to line it up and then butt it up into that corner. What you're aiming to do is to get these all on the same, the same, so it looks like it's a continuous ribbon. So push that in. So now if we hadn't trimmed that 1/4 inch off, when we do the next side it would get caught up, not 1/4 inch, about 1/16 inch. So you've got that. So we're at that point now. So again, laying it flat, take your carrier tape off, grab your glue, and overkill like I do. And bring it over, bring your box up and bring it over, but keeping this end in that corner, in that groove. Push it in and bring this piece up. Very carefully. I'm quiet when I'm concentrating. And there we go. Get your bone folder in there. And there you go. That is your finished illusion half-star card. Isn't that brilliant? And so easy. I mean, once you've got your measurements out, your card all cut, and start putting it together, it is so easy. Honestly, I've made 3 and it's not even halfway through the day yet. So there we go. And then just pop yourself a little, I've got a little happy birthday, which I'm just going to pop on there like that. Oops. But you can trim it in whatever way. The original lady that came up with this, she'd got bits of acetate coming out with stars on it and all sorts of things. So the sky's the limit with this. So there you go. That's 1, 2, 3 half-star illusion cards made this morning without me breaking a sweat. So do go and check out that website for me and see how she's done it, how she's put it together, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye for now.